And we can get this party underway, so let's introduce these absolute legends spawning up here in the top right of Oxide to get things started in this best of 5. Give it up for Reynor. And his opponent down here in the bottom, he is CLEM. And obviously these guys have a long and fruitful career in front of them with how well they have been doing recently. Reynor already taking a top Premier League tournament, looking to do so again here in DreamHack Summer. He's got quite the opponent in front of him, however, as CLEM is one of the scariest Terrans in all of EU. Even Reynor has stated in multiple occasions that if he had to face a Terran, CLEM is one of the ones that he definitely does not want to face from the region. And I can definitely see why. CLEM is a very aggressive Terran player. He's very good about getting to that 3-base economy and kind of just pushing without really giving you a chance to recover. Now, Reynor is no slouch himself. Like I said, tournament winner. And on top of that, he is one of those players where if you are super aggressive, he can punish you very quickly and very easily for it, as he's very good at kind of getting those wraparounds, those bits of surrounds here and there, and also just kind of being in your base when you least expect it. Now to start things off here, it looks like we do have that Reaper coming out from CLEM. He is just going to get a little bit of additional information. One thing I'm not seeing just yet is if he's going to go for the 3rd CC once again. He's one of those players who really has been enjoying the 3cc meta, as it really has just allowed him to get up to that aggressive pushing much quicker. It also allows you to stay relatively safe versus the Zerg player because you're on equal economy with them. Now already we do see the Reaper getting a little bit of good damage in, crushing through some of these Lings. But I don't think Reynor's going to really lose too much here. He's trying to bait out the mine so he can drop the Creep Tumor, and he will be able to get that down without too much of an issue. Back at home, we do see that 3rd CC coming down, just like I said. And behind that, he's going to go for Hellions, just to add a little bit of map presence here. Oxide, obviously one of the smaller maps in the pool, so it's good to kind of just keep your opponent's military back and just make sure that they can't really push out without you seeing it. Other than that, I don't really see anything else too crazy from these two sides. Just kind of waiting on speed, slowly pushing that creep. Funnily enough, with how he's pushing the creep tumors out, he's trying to kind of bait, thinking that he's going to be down here, but CLEM already knows that this base is already up and operational very soon. So it's kind of interesting why he would decide to go for this side first. You definitely want to attach your 3rd base to the creep as quickly as possible. So Reynor just going to get a little bit more information here. CLEM a little bit late to start that cloak. That kind of tells me that he might just want that as a feint, even though he is going for Banshees behind it. So he might let that finish, but if he does, Reynor is going to have a very good handle on it. I don't suspect he'll take that much damage, as he will have that lair. He will have the Spore Crawlers up in time. And behind this, CLEM is just kind of powering up, getting a couple of extra racks. He has halted Hellion production for the meantime. And yeah, everything's looking pretty good right now, as both sides are on 3 bases. So we have yet to see Reynor's choice of tech. A lot of the time what we do see against aggressive Terrans is he does like to kind of speed up quickly to that hive tech with Infestation Pit. And that allows him to kind of just push through with the lurker attacks. And looks like the Hellions doing a little bit of attacking on their own. The Banshee going to come in. Cloak is just about to finish up. That Queen is going to go down. The second one will follow as well. Now Cloak has started here. There is no Overseer, so he has to be careful with these Queens. This is a very good little pickoff from Clem. A perfect engagement so far from our French Terran. Now Clem still hasn't been able to make it to the drone line, so Reynor still sitting very pretty on 63, about to go up to 70, as well as just adding on that Baneling Nest, getting that 4th base up. So he's still relatively safe, but I know Clem is the kind of player who's going to look to kind of snowball any small amounts of damage that he can get, especially since he will have much faster upgrades with those +1. More than likely what he's going to do is, since he's kept the Hellions alive, he's going to add them into the attack, just toss down the armory and use them to soak up as much of that Banshee fire or Baneling fire, excuse me, as possible. Now Reynor, he's got to be a little bit more defensive here, since he does not have that Baneling speed, so he's going to have to fight on the creep. And good for him for bringing it so far out. That is a very big early warning system for him. But it's still a little bit dicey for him, as those Banshees going to be sitting ducks for a little while. Even then, he's not going to have any for this first small strike. Yeah, only just starting 5 now. Scan going to go down, revealing that there's not really too much to greet him, but he's still going to be a little bit careful. And there we go, the Lings going for the surround. The Hellions getting some good shots off to start things. The Marines are very low in HP, but they're going to go for a couple of snipes. Clem is pretty good about sniping the Banelings. Let's see if he can do it here. So far, one of them will go off. The Hellbats losing quite a bit of health, and Reynor will hold on quite handily right now. So now this is the point where Clem just continuously wants to be putting on that pressure. And that's why you can kind of see he's kind of just rotating in, slowly but surely, allowing him to heal up a little bit between fights so that he can keep this constant pressure out. The problem with that is that he continuously has to trade. He has to get good engagements, otherwise he's going to fall very, very far behind. Right now, Reynor is looking pretty good here. He did just lose 8 drones to a Widowmine going off. But he still has plenty more in the tanks. Some good snipes on those Banelings. A couple of them going to roll forward onto the Hellbats. Will get them. But that is not the kind of trading that you need to be doing as Reynor. So now Clem going to be rotating in, looking for an angle. Wants to get that base snipe. Even going to use the Reaper, which I'm surprised is still alive, but I like this as well. Kind of just forcing Reynor to keep some units at home in case of these backstabbing Widowmine attacks. Oh no, but Reynor is getting into his final form, as we've got the Hive, we've got the Hydralisk Den, and all he needs to do is sit back, relax, and wait for those lurkers. As Clem, still very heavy on the Marine production. He has not added on those additional racks. He's currently only producing from 5. As we have a lot of friendly fire damage there from those Widowmines. Over here, we do have another small engagement coming on in. The Banelings will get sniped. And the mines will go off on the Queen. So nothing too much from both sides. Very good pullbacks here from really both of these players. It's amazing to see how far they've come from their early days, which was, you know, a couple of years ago. They're still young. Reynor a little bit supply blocked, but he will force the fight to be disengaged. Using a little bit of Banshee fire or Baneling fire on those Widowmines as a small drop. Going to be coming over here, trying to fight with the Queens, but that is plenty of transfuse energy. The mines will be able to close things out, so that's some good positioning, but he will have to get out of there. So just really using the map to his advantage, finding these small angles. And Reynor, he's going to start struggling to kind of clean up any of these because he's very far divided. Yeah, you can even see right here, he doesn't really have a lot to kind of deal with this small army on this side, and yet he still has to be ready for what's coming on the other side. Benches as well going to find a little bit of an angle. There's no spore crawlers around here, no detection. So they are just going to hang out and try and get some of these transfers, it looks like. As we see the next big attack wave coming in for CLEM. Adding on those additional CCs as well. Does not want to fall too far behind. Looks like the Banshees will go down. Mine's going to find a little bit more damage, but still, at this point, it's starting to get to be where CLEM isn't going to find as much damage with these smaller attacks. It might just be better for him with those, or it might just be better for him to kind of bulk up his army, get more units together, and take some bigger fights while also attacking slightly from a little bit of a flank, i.e. send a couple drops over here while the main army is fighting. Otherwise, Reynor is going to start to overpower you as he is building up a bank and almost maxed out. Huge Widowmine connection right there. Gonna find a lot of those lings. As we have also just 3 medevacs chilling out. They're kind of tired of the fighting for the meantime. Getting rid of a lot more of those lings. We do have a small counter-attack over here. There's not really too much to deal with this, as the Banshees, or Banelings rather, going to take care of a couple of those Widow Mines. Looks like he was able to get in there, get a little bit more damage. But here we go. Reynor it is time for him to answer for all those dead drones. He'll be rotating in with a 2-prong attack. It will get deflected for the meantime. He doesn't really have a lot of Banshee or Banelings, so it's going to be very difficult to engage into that planetary fortress. But on the same stroke, CLEM can't really move out from that side because of all the lurkers. A huge Baneling connection right there. 15 workers going down. I gotta say, like, it was looking like a very strong start for CLEM, but now he's really in a kind of stuck position as these lurkers keep rotating around. Drop over here, gonna get picked off as well. So that is a lot of harassment potential gone for CLEM, but here we go. A beautiful Widowmine connection right there. 8 more dead drones. Like he's gonna swip into Liberators. It's really good because there's not that many spores on Reynor's bases. Lurkers are going to burrow, but those lings are just gonna get traded out. Quite a few of them going down during all of this. It looks like the Banelings will be coming in there to kind of finish off that base, but up here, CLEM is gonna get a base of his own, not gonna target fire it even, going straight for the drone line. And so a base for a base. Reynor gonna have to bring his entire force home to deal with this. And this is still looking like quite a bit of bio. The problem is, there's not that much in the bank here for CLEM, so if he loses this army, it's gonna be really difficult to remake it. So here we go, the Banelings going tirelessly against the Marauders, but they will hold strong. Ghost's gonna get a couple of decent snipes off. A couple of lurkers are dead. Right, during all of this, Reynor is gonna try and take that bottom right position, as well as try and get in here, but unfortunately, some more huge Widowmine connections gonna shut that down, and Widowmines one of Clem's favorite units, I'd imagine, just by units killed. As we kind of take a look at the units lost tab here. Yeah, 421. One away from a meme. Amount of links have been lost. Now the drones getting transferred will get taken down. Clem just rotating, looking for another base here. How many banelings does Reynor have? He's got 28, which is a decent number, but I don't know. It feels a little bit low for what he could be doing here, as the lurker's going to get found and just holding position down there. But here we go, the big fight here, as Reynor going to look to push his way through. The banelings not really doing too much versus the ghosts, and that is Reynor's entire army going down. Save a couple of lurkers in the backfield. Even going to use a lot of snipes on the banelings to get rid of them. As that run by goes down, this base is pretty much forfeit for Reynor. He is starting to fall very low in the supply, 147 to 179. And I'm a bit worried for how he's going to continue forward here. Only enough, even after losing how many drones? He's lost 61 so far, and he's still on 72 of them. Ooh, that's a huge kill there by those lurkers. He's gonna make 7 more. His bank doesn't really like him right now. They're pretty much calling him, begging him to keep some more in it. But he cannot afford to. He must spend or he will die. Funnily enough, that lurker doing pretty much the best work of the series so far, as it will finally get taken down by a scan. And now Clem is going to reestablish that base at the bottom. Catches a few more lurkers on the retreat. That is a pretty nice pickoff here if he can finish it off. The Lings as well, finding that there is no way into this base. So he will go for the third. The Widowmine gonna go listlessly off. But Clem is just gonna take this as an opportunity to attack in. He wants to close this one out. At almost 20 minutes in the game, this is quite the start to the series. And yeah, you can kind of see Reynor deciding that I don't have enough to finish this off. The SCV is going for a citizen's arrest, but that is a costly trade for them. I'm just going to get out of there, but he is not going too far. Just going to reestablish himself and push back in. Actually, more like come back all the way back to deal with one solitary lurker. As he is forced off that base once again. And so, stalemating for a couple of seconds here. I don't necessarily think that this is a true Mexican standoff, but I think both sides are a little bit hesitant to throw it away, as, you know, Reynor's starting to run out of money. These mineral fields are starting to clean out, while Reynor, or Clem rather, has the ability to kind of take that base down there a little bit easier. But here we go, the Ghosts gonna get their first couple of snipes off on the retreat. And Reynor has to go back to the creep. He is down almost 50 army supply right now. So he's going to have to go for the full surround, but the Widowmine's in the backfield. Going to help with that, make sure all the Lings are dead. And Clem just is going to pick up and get out of there. The Parasitic Bomb will get a full medevac of Ghosts. But, I mean, this is still super costly for him. More snipes going down. A bunch of them not actually going through, however. But there you have it. The last couple of snipes. And this game is donezo. Spawning up here in the top right position, he is the young Italian stallion representing Clash Esports. He is Reynor. And his opponent. Down here, he is representing the French nation. He is Team Liquid's CLEM. You know what? It's kind of funny, the timing of us doing these casts, as right now, I believe the European football finals are on, or soccer for our American audiences. But those are currently going on. I don't know the exact title of the tournament because I am one of those dirty Americans who calls it soccer. But it's kind of just like nation versus nation with these European Cup. Obviously, this is the upper bracket where these two played. So no spoilers for the rest of the tournament, but it's just very fun to see them play. And I know that was kind of a ramble that went into a million different directions, but you know what? Seeing these guys play, that's kind of how they play. Their units are in a million different directions, so it kind of fits to go in a million different directions with the cast. It's also 3 a.m., so, you know, hashtag passion. So once again, we see nothing out of the unusual here. 2,000 atmospheres, not the best map for some cheddar. We do see some Zergs use it as a chance to go for those Ravager busts, but I don't think you really want to do that versus CLEM on this map, because he will be set up and he will be ready to go because he does scout so fervently for that natural base. As we see a good start here from Reynor, keeping those drones alive. As this Reaper just looking for whatever it can find. Sees the creep tumor going down, but unfortunately will not be able to get it. Tries to get in, but barely escaping with its life. Only 3 HP left. Now from here, it's already looking to be a little bit of the same. Just going straight into Hellion play to make sure that he does get that map presence, that little bit of map control. And behind this, he will have that third CC about halfway done. I think it's even more rare to see him not get that third CC than it is to see him going for it. Which is kind of funny to think about because, you know, back in Heart of the Swarm, back in the early stages of Legacy of the Void, third CC was very, very risky. And now to see it so common is really funny to see how the meta continuously changing. I'm going to come in here. Reynor does get a full scout. He sees once again that it is Cloak. Gonna start the lair in the natural just to make sure it's out on time. He's gonna need Overseers because we saw the damage that the Banshees could do last time. And he's also just gonna add on a couple of additional Hellions. See what he can do with it this time. Gonna try and dive in, but wisely backs out. Reynor ready with the surround. Oh. So this is even better than last time here. CLEM gonna risk a lot more as we will be going for a big Banshee Hellbat push. So the big thing with this is CLEM needs to keep as much health on these Hellions as possible before this attack. He's got to sell that this is just a normal attack for him. Even just going to send the Banshee in, looking to get a little bit of damage, but also, again, just making sure that Reynor is none the wiser here. behind all of this as well, he's got that third... He's got his third CC set up, but the Queen's getting surrounded here right off the creep, so they will not be able to retreat. And that is exactly how it should be done for CLEM. Transfuses gonna make those Banshees go down, but I mean, holy cow, already 3 Queens and 14 Lings for relatively good cost. Even gonna get a couple of more before all is said and done. There are no Banelings on the map right now. My gosh, this caught Reynor completely off guard. I think CLEM would have liked to get a couple of more drones for his trouble, but now that he's off the creep, he should be able to just kind of morph these off and send them back home. In fact, not even going to waste time morphing them. See, Reynor going to be going for a little run-by of his own, but the Marines are in position to stop this, and they will have stim right about now. So total for that fight, bunch of Queens, a couple of Lings, for about 3 to 4 Hellions. Hellbats, rather. So now Reynor establishing his 4th base down here at the 3 o'clock position, while CLEM is just going to send these small attacks out, look for really any little bits of poking damage that he can get. It won't really find too much here. Maybe just add a little bit of damage to those hatchery as speed finishes up for the Banelings. Reynor a little bit supply blocked as well. We have those Hellions just waiting around looking for the rest of the army to be defending down here. CLEM being very cautious, very careful with how he moves in. He just wants to fight off the edge of the creep for as long as humanly possible. Good pickoff right there as well on that Baneling, as we have a huge run by Reynor. Gonna get only about 3 to 4 SCVs before going down. But that will stall out the reinforcements of CLEM for just a couple of seconds. And right now, it is pretty much a game of seconds. If CLEM can hit before there's too many Banelings, if CLEM can hit before the creep is a millisecond behind, and if CLEM can hit before Reynor has enough to defend, then it is just going to be a quick GG. But right now, CLEM disengaging as Reynor pushing this back, looking to go to Hive once again. A lot of Banelings going down right there, as a huge connection coming down on this side as well. And starting to get cleaned up on both sides here, but the Widowmine's making it a very costly retreat for Reynor to engage into. Not that much engaging up here, so CLEM might be able to get this base. He's just got to focus fire it down. Reynor a little bit slow on the defense of it. Instead, just going to go for the wraparound, the surround, and force the pickup out of CLEM. But now we have this very big 1-2 punch here from CLEM. Gonna just slowly try and pick apart Reynor. Like I said, this strategy, beautiful Widowmine shots right there, but this strategy relies on continuously trading out, making sure that they can't really transition. Otherwise, you're just going to get overwhelmed very, very quickly. Now, CLEM did get overwhelmed on the right side here. Still has a couple of forces up here, including those Widowmines. See, 5 kills, 4 kills, 6 kills. Nice, nice. Mine's getting 2 kills. There's also one heading straight for the main base. Again, just trying to fight off the creep. The Banelings will move forward here, but again, Reynor being very cautious with how he engages this. Look, good pickoffs there by CLEM, but Reynor will be able to hold on. This just is not enough here for CLEM to keep pushing forward. So a little bit of a change in this one here. He will be going for the Greater Spire. Broodlords might be an excellent choice with how much airspace we have on this map. CLEM going to be making his way in once again. He will get cleaned up on the left side. The right side doesn't really have a lot of healing energy available to it, so will have to retreat. And now it really just comes down to will CLEM be able to push forward anymore? It looks like he's going to keep trying. As the Reynor going to try and defend with all his might. He does have to deal with the drop up here, but he will be able to do so. And 22 more Lings, 12 more Banes on the way. Trying to section them forward, but they will go off against the Marauders. Definitely not the best trades for him. The Corruptors are out and morphing into Broodlords as well, but most of his army is kind of cleaned up here. He's down almost 30 armies or 50 army supply here. And CLEM is just going to keep rolling his way forward, and I think that might actually just be it. There you go. GG is called. So now Blackburn, a map that is very, very kind of tricky to navigate. I think the one it reminds me of most is from early on in Legacy of the Void, Golden Wall. Just because you do have relatively short positioning to your opponent's natural base, the rush distance can be quite short. So it's going to come down to how these guys decide to expand. If you expand up here to these third bases, you have a little bit of security, and it does set you up for the gold bases a little bit easier. But as time goes on, those bases can get very, very exposed to enemy attack from the angle, as there are different ways to kind of make their way through, especially if you start to mine these minerals out. Looks like CLEM will be getting the Reaper once again. Nothing too crazy. Reynor will look to kind of defend. So we got the SCV now just trying to be a little bit of a nuisance and block the third base for as long as possible. Looks like right now Reynor does not want to take that just yet, as he will be trying to deal with the Reaper in the main base. Look at that, even just going to drop the engineering bay. CLEM is on fire here. He just really, really wants that win. And I don't blame it. If you allow Reynor to kind of get back into this series, it's going to be pretty tight for you. Having a two-game buffer really should be helping his mindset here, because he can do pretty much what he wants, and Reynor's going to have to play it very reactionary in order to stay alive. Reynor also quite heavily delayed, since he still has not taken his third base, that engineering bay just being the biggest thorn in his side. Queen's gonna come out here to get rid of that Reaper. But yeah, that is just a huge delay that Reynor doesn't want to even afford. You can kind of see that he is gonna add on quite a few more of those Lings to deal with the Hellions as well. So that's gonna hurt his economy, as he's currently only on 33 drones. Alien's gonna rotate around looking for the kills, but won't be able to find them, as the Queens are very well positioned here. So they will just back on out and get on out. Yeah, once again, it's going to be Banshee Cloak. Funny enough, looks like Clem wanted to be a little bit more cautious in this game, probably expecting some sort of aggression out of his opponent. So he does get a much later third CC. Well, I mean, late for Clem. But, yeah, that's just so that he can pump out a couple of additional units, kind of keep that creep from going too far forward, because that is going to get very close and very difficult to deal with later on. But here we go. Couple of spores being added on. The drones lined up. I'm not able to commit to that. So far, again, not too much damage. We don't see an armory either. So no Hellbats on the way. Going to just shoo this away as continuously as possible. The Banshee does make its way in, but there is static defense all over the place. We'll maybe get one kill here, but is in range. And we still don't have a lair, so those queens will have to remain around the bases for the meantime. Hellions are going to commit in here, but only 2 drones killed. He will be able to get out of there with all of them. The Banshees go down. So far, the answer is no. In fact, they're over here doing a tremendous work. Going to force a lot of energy to be expended from those queens. But I gotta say, I'm really impressed here. Reynor is splitting his units perfectly against these small little attacks from Clem. So he's just making sure that he hasn't really taken any economic damage like he has in the first couple of games. And it's really allowed him to explode. He's on a much faster 67 drone count, and that's just going to allow him to pump Lings, pump Banes, pump those upgrades. So let's see what he can do with that and what his next move is. I think, yeah, we do have a Baneling nest, but only just now starting Baneling speed. Ready for the drop into the main base. The Spore Crawler is in position to try and help out, but that is within tank fire. Reynor taking this as a sign that he needs to go in for an attack. He will be able to get on top of that third base and do quite a bit of work as Clem is forced to retreat from this high ground position. Reinforcements as well, very exposed. Trying to fight in the choke point, but 17 workers going down here. That is a huge loss for Clem. Now adding on the Hellbats just to soak up a little bit of that Baneling fire. Once again, we do have quite a big run-by coming down. There are a couple of Marines in position. Does Clem see this in time? It looks like his attention is elsewhere. And that is another cleared out third base. Excellent job by Reynor. Even going to clean up these Banshees as well. So Clem's options are narrowing. Kind of see he recognizes that he does need to go in and get some damage done. Losing the Hellbats, however, as Reynor tries to catch the reinforcements, but will get taken out himself. So now all Reynor really needs to do here is defend, defend, defend. Once again, the economy of Clem is nowhere near where it needs to be. the Baneling's gonna roll on in. The reinforcements from the back gonna try and get on top of the siege tanks, but this is a very Pyrrhic victory for Reynor. Low supplies all around as those siege tanks still wailing away in the backfield. The Queens are holding strong. Yeah, Clem doing what he can to rebuild, but take a look at that income disadvantage. Over 1,000 mineral difference. As we see the steam starting to run out, a big connection on those Marines, forcing the liftoff. And as the last couple of siege tanks go down, I think Reynor might slowly be working his way to a victory. There's just not that much left in the tank for Clem. Yeah, you can kind of see the reinforcements trundling across, but for Reynor, he's just pumping pure Ling Bane on 72 workers down to the 48 of Clem. Another huge run by as well, going to pick off the reinforcements, and the third base will go down. And there you have it, Reynor. And I can tell you, these guys must be sweating hard right now, as while losing this game doesn't necessarily mean they're eliminated, as this is the upper bracket, like I said, so they still have another chance. You really don't want to go down towards the losers bracket in this stage of the tournament, because basically at this point all the good players are starting to get eliminated as well, so the losers bracket is going to be just as stacked, if not more stacked, than up here. Plus that +1 victory that you get in the finals really does kind of add a little bit of a momentum swing in your favor, as it allows you to kind of get a little bit of buffer before the series even begins. Reynor going to be taking that low ground third base. Going to allow him to be aggressive early on, and we can kind of see once he gets into his zone, once he can kind of send those attacks over the map, and once he can kind of disrupt the economy of Clem, then he really is looking unstoppable. Like he's going to go for it. He's looking to get that creep tumor. Not going to get it, unfortunately. That Reaper having to retreat. Wants to keep it alive for a little bit longer. But the Hellions should be on the way relatively soon. Alright, Clem has a third base already once again. He's got the tech lab going to be dropping on over to the starport once again. So really, Clem is showing a lot of the same stuff here, playing it very methodical. It's almost as if he is hiding certain strategies for later on in the tournament, but Reynor not holding anything back here. Will go for a small run by, gets one worker, almost gets a second, but the Hellions will be able to clean that up. But here we go, the first big change. He's gonna get that Raven. Now, I like that because it's gonna allow him to kind of bank up some more scans, get more mules available to him. So it's gonna help his economy a little bit more, as the Raven will be able to help him clear up the creep. Plus those spells, the Dorito Cannon, the lockdowns on the Queens can really turn the tide in your favor. But Reynor is ahead, 48-37. Baneling Nest coming down. Behind this, it's going to be Bio once again. It's pretty rare to see mech this late in the tournament. Queens just going to kind of shoo this away. This is a very wide open area. So Reynor does have to kind of keep an eye on it a little bit more. No armory, just a ton of Hellions. So really just going to start looking for those queen pickoffs as that number starts to rise. He's just trying to buy himself time for that build-up as he adds on the engineering base as well for those +1 upgrades. Third base will go down, but the Ling's just looking for any sort of damage they can get. The wall is not up, so the Marines will start to fall. The Hellions gonna have to come home, but that is gonna be quite a few dead SCVs. So far, 4 going down. And a total of 6. Was that worth it? It certainly was. Hellions as well, just looking for more damage. Going to try and get on top of the creep tumor, but now Reynor is in his element. Another big run by. Going to catch a lot of these Marines, which while they do have stem, they don't have combat shields, so they're not really getting the best trades here versus those Lings. And now CLEM dropping 2 more workers. This is exactly how Reynor likes it. The backstab. You pretty much think you're a senator in Rome for how much backstabbing's going on here. Which, I mean, is pretty fair since Reynor is Italian, but here we go, trying to fight the Hellions head on. CLEM will be able to get a little bit of revenge there. The Queens, a little bit out of position, so 7 drones gonna go down. As the Raven gonna look for a little bit more, but there is some anti-air defense in position. So now CLEM looking for a little bit more. Gonna get a couple of Widow Mines, a couple of Marines all loaded up, and go for a bit of a push. Not a huge one, mind you. Fortunately, is revealed by this small run by the Raven. Gonna get a couple of connections, but that might go down. Queen will fall. And here we go, Reynor loses another Queen. He still has quite a bit of transfuse energy. Overlord going to falter. Some damage on those Widow Mines. And that will be a pickup here for CLEM. Oh, that is quite the surprise here for both sides. 3 workers going down total. But now does... Okay, he does have the armory, so these are going to start turning into Hellbats pretty darn soon. And that's where you got to be a little bit careful here. As Reynor, you're still kind of building up. As we see another big Baneling run by here. Going to try and get on top of the army. Doesn't really get any connections. CLEM hanging out on the left side. Most of Reynor's army ready to contend. A small handful of Lings is going to fight the main force, however. Here we go. Reynor not really starting this fight off on the best foot. He doesn't have a lot of Banelings available, and a huge Widowmine connection. Going to clean up quite a few of these Lings. He does have another Baneling connection coming on down, as well as a secondary attack that will get cleaned up. So Reynor is able to hold on, but that was once again a Pyrrhic victory. Still not able to finish off the Hellbats. Transfuse for days. Take a look at how that fight went. 50 Lings going down. CLEM once again finds this base. Won't really engage into it. Wanted to go for the main base, but that is starting to be Fort Knox for Reynor. supplies are equal. The Widow Mines once again just getting those huge connections. MVP as Reynor trying to just trade out, trying to make sure that Clem can't push too far forward while he goes up to that Lurker Den and Hive once again. He does have his +2 upgrades much faster here, so Clem's units not going to be as effective. A huge Widowmine shot going on down here. 14 workers will fall. Almost gets that SEV. 1 day from retirement. He will be able to clean up another strike for Clem. Reynor, for the first time, has taken a significant supply lead in this game. And it's only going to get worse from here. We do have 3 Widow Mines available. 2 of them will go down. The third gets about 5 kills before dying. Or picked up, rather. Now dying. Here we go. 53 workers in the last couple of minutes here. The main force pushing their way through, but they will have to go very far forward onto creep to find their mark. Mines again, just kind of helping with the retreat. Clem picking up all over the place. As we see the first couple of Hydras coming in. We've got Carapace, we've got Seismic Spines. And now Clem kind of on a timer here, a big timer. He doesn't have a ton of Marauder production, only making 3 at a time. But he needs to start transitioning into ghosts, into siege tanks, just into something to deal with those lurkers. You can only be mobile around them for so long before your opponent has too many of them. And I mean, that's kind of one thing that's known about Reynor. He's not the best at splitting his Lings and Banes. But I mean, he's still doing great at pushing Clem back. Like the Widow Mines will go down eventually here. Reynor trying to fight off the creep, just trying to get those lurkers very far forward. Seismic Spines does complete, so they will have a little bit of extra range. Trying to use the Lings for friendly fire damage. Couple of small drops. As well, just going to try and pull Reynor's attention away. He gets on top of the lurkers, a couple of them going down. But now Reynor has the place surrounded. The third base is under fire. And yeah, a lot of production actually down here. 2 racks. That's his Marauder production gone. The drone line gonna have to retreat up here, but at the end of the day, is this enough for Clem? Currently only sitting on 67 workers. He doesn't have a ton of orbital commands available to him, so he can't rely on mules. I just want to see. Take a look at that income. You can kind of see this is where he's dropping those mules. But Reynor is just exploding here. Reynor on position here, those lurkers. Doing a good job. The concave is decent enough, but he's going to lose a lot of workers here. 8 already going down. So Reynor trying to get on top of the production. He will be able to. Doesn't have adrenal glands, though, and he's only on +2 attack. Up here, however, finding much more luck. Okay, good. Planetary Fortress kind of killed itself there by killing off that Baneling. But now Clem starting to run out of steam. He is down to effectively 3 mining bases. And his army looking worse for wear. Taking a look at the battle report here. 10,000 minerals. in the last couple of minutes as we have another big engagement down here. The Banelings looking for it. Will they get it? Sort of. 3 workers going down. And now CLEM heavily supply block, trying to break this bottom location. That is going to be it. We are moving on to match point. So a fantastic comeback here from Reynor. He just needs 1 game to close things out. But CLEM is still hot on his heels. Up here in the top left position, he may have stumbled, but he has not fallen. Give it up for the new Frenchman on the block. Team Liquid's CLEM. And his opponent down here, you can see why he's called the Italian Stallion, because he's always running. Give it up for Team Clash and Reynor. And so, what are these two going to do right now? I think that they are not going to risk it and go for something crazy. This is the last game of their run, almost. Things are starting to wind down. Things are starting to be worth a lot of money. I think for Europe, it was like $10,000 for winning the summer event. And that's quite a chunk of change, you know, for a young player. That's enough to last you for about 2 months of Europe living. And we do have the CC coming on down the hatchery. Has been down for a while. CLEM, he did play it a little bit cheeky in game number 3. He went for a block on the 3rd base. But now with 2 relatively simple thirds to take, I don't think that's going to affect Reynor as much. Already the Reaper gonna come in here, get a little bit of work in. We'll just look for what it can. And kind of just more of the same. And this is kind of what I was expecting here. It's game 5. There's no real point in trying to change it up. CLEM gonna try and get the creep tumor once again, but will get deflected. Good start, good defense here from Reynor. Oh, there you go. So, a bit of a modified 2-1-1 style here from CLEM. He's going to start pumping out as many units as possible and look to close things out as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, though, not a lot of anti-air defense, so this Overlord will be able to get in here and get a little bit of vision. And yeah, he sees that stem. He sees the second racks. He's got to be feeling pretty good about that scout, because now he knows what to expect. Instantly we see the additional lings coming out, and maybe the Baneling nest relatively soon as well. But yeah, it's kind of important. You do need to kind of slow down drone production, get that additional defense out in order to defend. Small run by. Just going to hang out there in the bottom side as these Hellions trying to sell a story. Reynor will be able to find in here, but CLEM is in a decent position. The wall will not be able to go down, so Reynor will be able to get in here. And this is, like, even if this doesn't kill everything, this is going to take a lot of wind out of Clem's sail. The attack that he thought he was going to be able to do is now going to be severely weakened. All of those Marines going down. That was actually a worthwhile trade for Reynor overall. So now that's going to force Clem into a very defensive position. Because he doesn't have a lot of Hellions, it means that he doesn't really have a map presence anymore. So that leaves Reynor free to macro. And we've seen Reynor loves to get up to that faster hive tech. He loves to get up to that late game economy. I mean, this is looking really good so far for getting up to that point. Nest coming down, lair as well, halfway complete. He does have Carapace coming on down, but a little bit later on that secondary Evo chamber. I think Carapace is okay, is an okay choice. It's going to allow him to kind of tank a little bit more. I think it's not going to matter too much though, because Clem will have 1-1 roughly by the midpoint of this attack, and he will have combat shields as well. So here we go. The Widowmine going to try and go for it. The Queens hiding in the brush will be able to force this back. So Clem going to have to settle for just a little bit of creep denial. As Reynor just kind of droning up very heavily behind this. A small little reposition here. Since Reynor doesn't have creep on this side, this will go unscouted. And will actually supply block him quite heavily. 3 Overlords going down. Oh my goodness, that is going to slow down Reynor quite heavily here. How many Banelings does he have out on the map? He currently is just defending with regular Lings. Waiting for centrifugal hooks as he takes a large swath of the top side of the map, rather. Queen going down, but there is enough energy on him to keep them alive for a while. As we have another small attack going to get picked up here. So, once again, Clem just trying to get these 1-2 punches out. And I think Reynor's actually pretty well set up to stop small amounts of units on both sides. He's got his Queens defending up here, a sizable army down here. Clem just really has to be careful about where he decides to engage into this. As Reynor going to be taking his 5th base, Clem only going to get his 4th in the next couple minutes. Yeah, like I said, energy for days. Will lose a queen right there, but there is still plenty left in the backfield. Careful not to lose too much to the Widow Mines. As we see a little bit of a wraparound. The Lings are going to be in position. Reynor took a second to find them, but a nice little pick off right there. Gets about half of that attack. 10 transfuses. Alright, trying to find a little bit of value out of these units. Widowmine's going to punish him for it, though. A bunch of Lings going down. But once again, Clem just doesn't have enough to kind of close out any fight. He's consistently just trying to trade out, as we have Reynor's fast hive once again on the way. Looks like he's going to be going into lurkers once again. He will have the lurker den coming on down. Reynor trying to engage into this. The Banelings not really getting the best connections that they can. A bunch of the army having to stay up here as well on the creep. As Clem just trying to bait him off. Look at that double lurker den. I don't know if that's a mistake or he's just looking to double upgrade. But Clem just kind of rotating in. And next up here. Forced to stay where they're not really going to be too useful. That's a lot of Clem supply in those medevacs as well. Alien's going to be able to make their way through, and that was a little bit of friendly fire damage from those Widow Mines as well. Looks like going for a bit of a drop. I'll keep an eye on that one. Getting deflected on that side. Reynor is on top of things, but the Widow Mine going to come on down. 9, 10 workers going down, and with that positioning, a very nice cleanup of that 5th base. But now he's going to make his way in. There's not a lot of room to kind of maneuver around these lurkers, but so he's just going to try and tank some of the damage. Gets one of them very quickly, and is on top of the mineral line just a bit. So a couple of additional workers will go down. Clem once again forced to retreat. He doesn't have a lot of hard hitters with this army. Oh my gosh. That is a disaster waiting to happen. Matthew's going to save the lurkers alive. We have a huge amount of Reynor's army just ready for the backstab. But Reynor is in a little bit of trouble back at home. The Baneling's going to be coming in. Not that many SCVs going down so far, but he will be able to find some of them. 10 going down, and that is the 4th also going to fall. So Clem kind of trapped into a bit of a corner here. He's got to re-establish a 4th, maybe even take his 5th quickly if he wants to not fall too far behind. Oh, my goodness. Reynor just ready to go. He's finding all these different little angles where he can move in, but will have to get out of there, losing quite a bit to the retreat. Still, though, he has control of the center of the map. The Widow Mines haven't reset just yet, and he can't fight the main army, so we'll have to come back out of here, but oh my god. Did that seriously not go off? Oh no. I bet you Reynor's counting his lucky stars with that one, because that was about to be a huge hit here. As Lurker does go down, there are more of them in the backfield, and they are heavily upgraded right now. Clem just going to dive right in, gets 3 or 4 of them before having to retreat. If he can continuously trade out like that, it's going to help, but I think Reynor is starting to get at that point where he can kind of just take smaller unit trades like that. I'm gonna lose this base. He does still have the base on the top, on the 4th location, but losing that gas is going to be critical for him because he is starting to go very gas heavy with his unit composition. Tons of siege tanks, tons of marauders. Might even add on some ghosts. He does indeed have some. Widow Mines do get found out here. The problem with trying to take that base as well is he has opened up his 3rd to another big avenue of attack. As Reynor's got a pretty good wraparound here. Clem kind of going into full-on defense mode, setting up the Great Wall of Siege tanks. He is going to punish Reynor for trying to come in on this side. But a lot of those siege tanks are out of position, allowing the lurkers to get right on top of this base. And now the banelings just going to sacrifice themselves, get that base. As well as deny a lot of mining down here on this building planetary. Now taking a look at it, he's currently on 69 workers. Nice. And also, he doesn't really have a lot of orbitals available to him. He's only got 3. So every worker he loses is going to be that much more painful. Those Lings putting on work. +3, +3. Don't even need adrenal glands, it looks like, to do massive amounts of damage. But he will lose this base here in the top right position. I think CLEM needs to establish himself up here in the top, as that's really where both sides are trying to expand into. Biggest thing for Reynor is he does have the safer base down here since he hasn't been able to establish it. So now that's going to be a little bit easier to take with his army. Beautiful pickoffs there by those Vipers. And now Reynor going to look for another angle to come into. I'm just trying to, like I said, establish this top position. Reynor getting ready for another wraparound here. And, yeah, he's just trying to rotate around, but the Lurker's doing a good enough job of preventing that. Snipes going down, but not going to be able to clean up the Queens as Reynor tries to jump right into that. Takes some huge pot shots from those siege tanks. Oh no. So I'm looking at the upgrades tab here as that ghost goes down. He doesn't have +3 defense, nor does he have any attack upgrades on these siege tanks. So his units are not going to do anywhere near as much damage as they should. Oh man, Reynor's got to be clicking on CLEM's units and saying, ha ha ha, you are giving me a gift. Also taking a gift away as that run-by gets cleaned up by the Widow Mines. But Reynor is just going to continuously be rotating in here, looking for his angles of attack. And he will be able to find a good enough spot, get rid of the planetary before it's even complete. As the Lurkers are in position, he does find this base down here. But the wall is broken, and CLEM is going to have to scramble for the defense. He only has these ghosts, which, you know, arguably are pretty tanky, but the SCVs, not so much. So now both players getting close to maxing out. Reynor building up a small bank for him, but still in the realm of losing it. Gonna find another big pickoff here of those siege tanks. Coming around with the banelings as well. The split is good on the ghost, so he's not gonna lose too many of them. But 19 more workers going down. Things aren't getting desperate for CLEM by any stretch of the imagination, but they are getting harder and harder here for him, as Reynor's just not really taking as much damage as previous games. In fact, he is doling out quite a bit of hurt. Really finding his stride with these run-bys, getting some amazing pickoffs here. Gonna get a couple couple of snipes down on the lurkers. Gonna take out the orbital commands on this side. That's a lot of ghosts, but yeah, you got to be able to get your snipes off. A very tall order here, especially since a lot of his attention, I'm sure, is focused over here, losing a lot of his production to the Lings. That's no planetary. Now Clem not mining off a lot of these bases. His orbitals are completely lifted. He is relying on this attack up here. If he loses this position, it is an instant GG. His saving grace is that he is starting to get a lot of damage in, killing off a ton of the bases. Reynor's bank has dissipated. And so he is not really able to have a super effective defense against this. And his answer for that is to just clean up a bit of a base trade here. Force Clem to stay at home while he rebuilds. That's pretty much all he can really do. I mean, the Lurker's going to make it super easy for him. He does have a ton of them. How many does he have? He's got 13 Lurkers. Oh, boy. Clem trying to rotate around. He needs to take a base, so he's looking to re-establish that low ground. He does have this planetary up just about, so they're going to successfully re-establish the north side. Even getting 2 more command centers coming on in, so yeah, he's starting to steamroll here. The Lurkers are out of position as well. Did he lose a lot of them? He lost 2 of them. But every unit for Reynor counts right now. Like, literally every single unit that he loses is going to be terrible for him. Please be hold position. I can't tell, but... oh my goodness, if Clem walks over that with this army... they are hold position, but Clem hasn't walked over him just yet. So I'm going to reveal them. Repositions the ghosts in front. Will get surrounded and die. Widowmines as well doing a lot of friendly fire damage. This base will not be established anytime soon. See as well the secondary attack force of Reynor going up towards that north position. Clem trying to get this place as the minerals starting to dry up on the map. You do want to get rid of as many of them as possible. So Reynor just going to try and take the bottom right or bottom left expansion. But Clem is making a beeline for it. The Lurkers, though, in a beautiful choke point.
Your forces are under attack.
He doesn't see it, but the Lurkers on the high ground. Beautiful. Clem is going to take this as a signal to attack in here. He still has quite a few ghosts in his arsenal, and there's not that many Lurkers left. On the bottom side, some huge snipes going down. Going to take out quite a few of them at the top position as well. EMP is going to blanket the Vipers, but there is still enough energy for a couple of yoinks as the ghost line starting to fall. Clem gonna have to pick up, and Reynor has taken the supply advantage for the first time in a while. Reynor on the attack. He doesn't want to throw anything away, losing 11 links to that Widowmine. Halting the snipes as well, getting rid of a lot of these ghosts. So Clem kind of having to stay back once again, but he has gotten the planetary fortress up. Looking at banks, these guys are very mineral rich, but their gas is where the problem's really starting to happen. The Widow Mines doing a little bit of friendly fire damage once again as these SCVs will fall. Also, I just want to take a look at the units lost tab here. Claim about a 10,000 mineral difference and over 800 links falling in this game. Oh no, the Widow Mines have repurposed themselves. A ton of the front links going on down, and Reynor once again forced to retreat. As we have this Widow Mine doing quite a bit of work down here. 5 more kills added to the tally. Reynor, again, he just really has to stay aggressive. He doesn't have a choice at this point. He needs to make sure that CLEM can't push him while he reestablishes himself. The lurkers will start to fall. There is enough snipe damage to do quite a bit. A little bit, once again, of friendly fire damage. The Widow Mines really being the MVP here. Those are some nasty connections. The Overseer going to try and help him clean this up, but it will have to retreat. It just doesn't have the health. 9 more workers. Clem. If he had +3, I want to say he'd be taking these fights a little bit better. I want to say he'd be losing a little bit less. But as it stands, he's probably taking a little bit more damage than he's really wanting to right now. I don't know if that's going to end up costing him, because ghosts are still pretty tanky. But still, you really don't want to rely on equal upgrades. Once again, a couple of snipes. Those lurkers are getting more and more expensive by the minute here, but these lings also starting to get a little bit of inflation on them. As he can't really afford to remake as many as he would like. He's only got 20 on the production tab right now. At this stage in the game, that is not a lot. Especially not with how CLEM is trading out. And CLEM on the warpath here. He has started this position and he is not going to move. Like, he just does not have to. Reynor can't engage off the creep. And CLEM never has to engage on it. So Reynor's big chance right now is to get rid of these bases while CLEM is distracted down here in the bottom. Reynor running out of mining positions, however. The ghosts starting to get surrounded from the top, but they will be able to just snipe their way out of it. CLEM finally just going to lift up, sacrificing a couple of his units, but oh my god, these Widow Mines. Literally the MVP, not only of the game, but of this entire series. I gotta say, Reynor is probably kicking himself for how he's been dealing with them. If he hasn't taken those kind of hits, he would be in a much better spot. But as it stands, he's only got about 3 lurkers in the tank after losing 15 of them in the last couple of minutes. 206 snipes have been used. And I think from here, honestly, with Reynor below 100 supply, I think CLEM has done it. One big push looking to finish off this base, this heavily oversaturated base. Also gonna just crush through this one in the top. And Reynor with one last ditch effort. Gonna try and get on top of the production in the top side of the map. But the lurkers are falling back at home. And he's starting to get cleaned up here. So CLEM in it to win it. will be your upper bracket winner here, moving on to the finals, as Reynor will have to battle his way through the losers bracket, and GG is called. Congratulations to Reynor for moving on, and good luck to Reynor in the lower bracket.